start recording. It looks like somebody just left the call. All right. Oh, so welcome to the June credentialing meeting. I think I was a party of one last month. I know it fell on a holiday, but I was working, unfortunately, so I just went ahead and had the meeting anyway. So I was only on a few minutes. But this is the June meeting, and I'm going to cover the old business first. And the first piece of the old business is an ongoing development, and that's the Strategic Plan 2025. The mission and vision have mostly remained the same. They did approve the reorganizations of the committees and councils, and that was rolled out and approved at JETC at the BOD meeting. All of the committees and councils will fall under one of the 5 lines of effort. The first one is enhancing industry government engagement. The second one is building resilience throughout the country. The third one is developing leaders for the profession. Fourth is producing STEM professionals for the nation. And the fifth one is preparing veterans for the AEC industry. And that is the line of effort that our community of interest, which is formerly called the credentialing community, is falling underneath that one, the preparing veterans for the AEC industry. And that's not meant to be a limiting boundary, because we really do touch all 5 lines of effort. And I'll go into a little bit about that, and there's also some pieces of that is new business that I'll cover here in probably just a few minutes, because there's only a few of us on here. A synopsis of the JETC outbrief. I could have done this last month, but it was so close to the end of JETC and nobody was able to get on the call. The lounge was, I think, a great success, and it was a great opportunity for people to relax and sit down and chat with some of our strategic partners and talk about whether it was transitioning or any of our other credentialing and licensing efforts. The title of the lounge was Preparing for the AEC Industry, and we have plans to make it better for next year, and we're still soliciting input, obviously, on how we think we can make it better for SAME members for public and private sector. So whether you're a strategic partner or an active SAME member, please send me that information on things you would like to see changed, or things we did good, things we did bad, things we can improve on. And I know one of the things that everyone brought up, especially our strategic partners that had a booth, is to co-locate their booths closer to the lounge, so it's easier for the interaction to happen between the credential partners and then the lounge activities themselves. The community of interest meeting went really, really well. We had great attendance, and it was a very diverse crowd. We had academia, we had trades, we had professional industry partners, we had public, private, active duty, civilian. We pretty much touched it all. So I thought that meeting went really, really well. We went over the strategic plan. We went over the organizational changes with the community of interest falling underneath one of the lines of effort. And we are soliciting ideas still on how we can influence national level guidance and opportunities for local post implementation, because that's always one of the biggest goals, is to provide what are we doing at the local level to help local posts. The last thing off of the JETC outbrief is, as we're growing, we're looking for some liaisons to interact with specific communities within this community of interest. And I think one of my best examples is the academia and higher education institutions, some of our university partners, and maybe having someone specifically working with them and working on objectives and initiatives to enhance our strategic partnership with them. We have the next webinar scheduled. Kathy, I haven't sent you his information yet. Mark has moved on from NCCER, so I'm still looking for another point of contact within NCCER, hopefully someone who will be just as passionate as Mark was. So what I've done is moved up Eric Wright. He has volunteered to take that on. It will be July 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern. and I do have his bio and topic, so I'll be able to send that to you. Is there anything else you need from me to get that webinar scheduled?
Yeah, there's an online form that, if you look at the ops manual, the draft ops manual, there's an online form that you've got to fill out. And the sooner the better, because I know that I have another community of interest that's planning to do a webinar in July, so I have to deconflict them because we use the same call-in information.
Okay, I'll get that to you this afternoon then.
Okay.
So that was it for old business. Is there any old business that I may have forgotten before I roll into new? Okay, that was a quick 5 minutes. New business. So this is what I referenced earlier, the strategic plan. It's kind of old and new. We're doing some new things as far as supporting the implementation and development of the National Strategic Plan. And we have been working on, our community of interest specifically has been working on goal number 4 within that strategic plan, and that's the preparing transitioning veterans for the AEC and asset management industry. And I did cover this all when we had our meeting at Jesse and went over it, and we have provided it to the council that is, Kathy, I may not be calling them right, council, whatever the team is that Charlie is developed, that is leading for the strategic plan. They have all of this information now, and I'm still looking. I have a couple of folks that are reviewing it from a holistic perspective, and we'll be providing that to you. I believe the deadline was July 12th. So we'll be getting that to you as well. I won't belabor every single individual bullet point. Kathy, is there a way for me to post these minutes on my community of interest? Because I'm afraid as we grow and change and people come and go that I'm missing people, whether it's a calendar invite or getting the agenda and minutes out. Is there a way for me to post them?
Yeah, no, you can, if you send them to me, I can put them on the webpage if you like.
Oh, awesome. That would be perfect, because I don't like to be the single point of failure. I want you to be. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I just, as people, I see people adding my calendar invite, and it's just easier just to tell everybody to go to the website, one-stop shop, all the information's right there.
Right.
Okay. All right. So one of our ongoing, I talk about it every month, new business is how do we continue to improve on building relationships and coordinating credentialing efforts for all SAME members, both public and private. Leanne, I know you were a past post president and an RVP. We're always looking for ideas on how we can improve our relationships and any of the services that we can provide at the post level.
Sure. So I'm in the process of, still kind of learning about the credentialing committee and the goals. And so Bo Temple actually asked me to join this committee because our post is located at Fort Lee, and he felt like, between the Army Logistics University and some of the other stuff they have there, that it would be a good matchup for us to try and get them involved. But I'm just not super familiar with exactly what the military is looking for as far as credentialing. I know, our private sector folks, they are the thing we've had the most interest in, other than people who have their PE or getting their PE, is the PMP certification. So that's something I've been working with Peggy from Leidos on, is getting together, options for us to be able to do some more partnerships with our local PMP, our PMI chapter. I think that might be something where, if the committee itself could provide some guidance or encourage connections between SAME individual posts with the PMI chapters in their areas, it might spur, more communication and more help with that.
Sure. So we do have an existing strategic partnership with PMI, and
yes.
they did attend JETSI last year. They sent representatives this year, and we're trying to hit that from both sides. So one of my goals with this community of interest is to make sure, yes, we are working with, transitioning veterans and things like that, but SAME as a whole is more than the active duty military member. And so maybe it's not just going out and finding more strategic partners, whether it's a trade school or a higher academic education facility, but also hearing from the posts. What do the posts need? What do they want? What do they need help with? And I think this is one of them you just said is good. I wrote it down as, I can contact PMI and say, how can we push out to your local PMI chapters that SME is local, and see if we can't provide the information from both streams.
Yeah, I think that'd be really helpful, because I know that Kathy's done a lot of work to develop these strategic partnerships, and I see just from my interaction between Post Leaders Workshop, between just being a post president previously, when you first get involved with SAME, there are so many resources, it can be very overwhelming. So if we can just help people, even though Kathy's done so much work and it does exist on the website and there's a lot of information that's easily available, just to help people not be so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, if we can make an effort, as part of our community of interest to, once a year try to have kind of a PMI rally where we get, other PMI chapters to reach out and let our posts know, hey, this is an effort we're making this particular month to try and build the relationship or whatever it is. I mean, I just want to try to help people understand and find that information.
Okay. And also it might be good to, I'm working with the PMI, maybe they could also do a webinar and we can have that available for people as well.
Yeah.
And I know Dr. Eric Wright will be discussing it during his webinar next month. That's his focus is PM. Yep. Sure. But this is the kind of input we're looking at it on the national stage is what can we do to help the post? What do you guys need to see? So this is very helpful. And being an RVP and sending it out to the rest of your posts and asking them what they need and bringing that information back is very helpful. It makes us feel valid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just hard because I sit on several of the former committees and councils, and until you start getting involved in those larger committees and councils and getting involved in the board on a national level, there's just so much out there that, we don't even realize as individual people in individual areas what all is available. So I definitely want to make sure that all the work that you guys do as a community of interest isn't for nothing.
Okay. I think we had a couple other calls join in. Does anyone else have any input on that?
Leanne, this is Kathy. I know that the membership community of interest is working on kind of a one-pager to help post with strategic partnerships, and they're also working on providing like the locations for where the local chapters are for various strategic partners. Some of them have links, and I can't remember if PMI is one of those or not, where if you go to the web page that has all the strategic partnerships, I can't remember if that's one of the ones that has a link to where all the chapters are so that you can link up. And if you have any problems, linking up, even after you share that we have an MOA, by all means let Tamara or myself know, because we can, like she said, try and push it from the other side.
Yeah, I think it's less of the information needs to exist more. I think that you guys do a good job with that. It's more just getting people to even realize that the information is there. So you've done a good job of putting that together. And I know I was on the membership community of interest call earlier today, and we did talk a little bit about that, as one of the things that they're working on for to have ready for post leaders workshop. And that is good information. It's just sometimes just being more direct about, say, for instance, our PMI relationship, just saying, hey, this is something we're going to focus on, to try to encourage the post to actually do something with the information that you've worked so hard to put together.
Right.
Okay. General Temple, Bo Temple, did you arrive? Did you make it? He's having problems dialing in. And I even did a test call with him. So he's missed a lot of it. What I'll do is I'll just send him a quick note. It popped in on my screen while I was talking. I don't know what's going on, because I did a test call with him and we're all on, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, the top of the meeting notice has got the wrong call-in number, and so people don't know to go down to the bottom sometimes until nobody's on the phone, and then there were about 5 of us on the wrong line.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, there's I sent an email out. We should be putting the calendar invite. All the information is on the website because it's been a little cumbersome tracking everybody who needs to know when the call is by sending it as a personal calendar invite from my calendar. And so I think what's happening is there's a lot of conflicting information out there. Is anybody on the screen? Can you see my screen? I know some of you have called in only, but I've been going through the agenda, sharing my computer screen. I don't think anyone else is logged on. All right. Yeah, he's still not able to get in. So what I would recommend then is, and Kathy, I'll work with you to send out another email to everybody, is how to log in and where to log in from, and probably replace their calendar invites as well. Will that help?
Yeah. In fact, it might be good to just cancel all the calendar invites, and then we can maybe send an email out like once a month, every 2 weeks before the call, and just say, as a reminder, the call is on this day every month. Here's the call information on the webpage.
Right.
And then if you want to put it on, if you want to put it on your calendar, that's fine. But then that way, there's no floating calendar advice.
Right. Okay. And that leads us up to, there is a survey out if you are interested in taking the community of interest survey. I can send that to you. Please let me know. I didn't want to send it to everybody and flood inboxes, but basically it's a survey for feedback on how the community of interest. Kathy, maybe you can explain it a little bit better. I think it came from your office.
Yeah, it's just the beginnings of a marketing project that that's going to be for the COIs out of the national office. It was started by Heather Wishart-Smith, and actually Matt Turner, who's one of our elected directors, took on the project, and he's working with our marketing people. And so the survey is just sort of the first step, gaining some input as to how people utilize our COIs currently. And then they're going to put together a marketing plan, because there's a lot of people that don't, especially in the post, Leanne, you might be able to attest to this, that don't realize how they can call on COIs for post activities. So that's kind of one of the things we want to do. We want to market to members, but we also want to market to our posts. the benefits of belonging to a COI and what they can do propose.
Anyone have any questions on those? If you want to take that survey and provide input on that, please let me know and I'll make sure that you get it. But if you joined the call later and couldn't get on earlier, I'm going to send this agenda and it'll turn into the meeting minutes, and Kathy will get that sent out to everybody that is a member of the credentialing community of interest. The last thing I want to talk about is the Small Business Conference is coming up in November. It is the 20th through the 22nd in Dallas, and the registration is open. And so if you go to the calendar on the SAME.org website, you'll be able to click the link. But if you just want to copy it down, it's SAMESBC.org, and it'll take you right to the SBC website. And we will work, if you can or cannot make it, that's okay. We're going to work and probably have a side meeting there because we always get a lot done when we're in person. So Jesse is a bigger venue, but Small Business Conference is quickly catching steam as a great venue to interact with the public-private sector. Does anyone have any questions at Small Business Conference? So we're going to be soliciting information for an agenda to talk about, but I'll make sure everybody gets the minutes from today. Does anyone have any other questions on new business?
Regarding SBC, one thing is, I'm sure most of the people on this call know, but if you're questioning about being able to go because of cost, you can volunteer for 6 hours of time there at the conference, and the SAME will waive the conference fee. So I just want to mention that if there's anybody on the call who actually isn't aware of that.
Kathy, how come my sitting 6 hours in a BOD meeting doesn't count?
Yeah, a lot of people probably wish that.
I know my company owner would.
Yeah,
okay,
you're not wrong about that.
Okay, well, then our next meeting is scheduled for July 22nd. That's the fourth Monday. And I'll try, we'll send some follow-up emails. We'll send an email out to everybody saying, delete all your calendar invites. Here's the place to go get it directly instead of relying on my calendar and my abilities to send out a calendar invite, because I think it sounds like there's some conflicting information out there. And then also we will start sending out a reminder like 1 week out. Hey, don't forget, here's where you go to get the call-in information for the next meeting. But it is every fourth Monday, and the information's on the website. And we will have 99% sure that Dr. Eric Wright will have the next webinar as soon as I get my form in to Kathy. It'll be on July 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern. And he is a PMI, Vet to PM, Vetstone expert. Actually, he owns it, but so I can say he's an expert. Any last round? Anything else anyone wants to talk about before we head off? And I'll stop recording. If you missed the earlier part of this, I did record this meeting and it will get posted up on the community of website. So if you want to hear any of the other earlier interactions. Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
All right, that sounds great. Thanks everybody for chiming in today. And I look forward to talking to you guys over the next month and in the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you.